So we are indeed having a conversation about an ancient intervention for our world. There is a very special journey, also known as a Yatra, that will commence in early July, and it ends, I think, July 18th. Pundiji can speak to that more succinctly and with more detail, the pinnacle of which is this extraordinary undertaking to the base of Mount Kailash. And today we're talking all about this, sharing with you what it is, how you can participate, and why this is so important to all of us. We're going to have time for question and answer. We definitely wanted this to be interactive. I will be monitoring the chat throughout the conversation, and then we'll have a Q&A at the end. So feel free to ask your questions anytime. We already have some already teed up. So the first thing I'd like to do is introduce Pundit Samavedula, who I was introduced to over 2 years ago now by a mutual colleague and friend. And what I can share with you, what I have learned about Pundiji, as I've come to call him, is he's a 6th generation Vedic Pundit from Southern India. He has founded many temples in North America, and most recently founded one in Irvine, California, the Siva Kamaswari, Sri Siva Kamaswari Temple. And I'd love for him to speak when he does have a chance to talk about what that is dedicated to specifically and what deities. He also has the Vedic Yagya Center. So this audience today has come in through both of those communities, the Vedic Yagya Center, as well as the temple community and the temple family. So I'll have him share a little bit about that. And if I'm recalling correctly, he has seen and worked with over 40,000 Vedic astrology charts. I am one of them, I will admit, and it's changed my life dramatically, which is part of why I'm with you today as well, because I'm very honored to be part of this. So Andrew, we're going to skip over here. Dr. Andrew Foss, I would like to ask you to share what you know about Pundit Samavedula for our audience.
Thank you. So I'm the founder of the British Association of Vedic Astrology. And actually, this is our 30th anniversary this year. And we were looking always for a good Vedic Pundit because we start our conferences with a puja. And in 2009, we got very lucky to come across Pundit Samavedula, who was a big upgrade from what, we had good Pundits, but Pundiji doesn't really have he's in another class, I would say. So since 2009, he's been opening all our conferences, for which we're very grateful, even traveling all the way to London for 2 days. And so that's when I first met him. It's almost 20 years. And I must say, he's very outstanding. The thing about him, he's a genuine, it's really the real deal. He's dedicated to the Vedic knowledge. He's not a businessman. He's a genuine Pundit, and he does a very good work. Like he never compromises. He always does things properly. His knowledge of the Vedas is quite unparalleled in my experience, my small experience. And he chants very beautifully, as you'll soon notice when he opens his mouth. And so, it's a great blessing. He's helped me a lot. He's a great expert in all the ways of the Mother Divine. And he's guided, quite a few people in that. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And now turnabout is fair play. So I'm going to share again, and we're going to take a quick look at what we know about Dr. Andrew Foss. As he just mentioned, he is author of Yoga of the Planets as well. He is an Oxford-trained PhD scientist. And he and Pundiji and I had the opportunity to speak a few weeks back when they were educating me about this opportunity and what's happening. And I just listened to them go back and forth and back and forth. And it was so beautiful because they're both so learned and so genius in this domain. That was the idea that sprang into this webinar, because we want all of you to be able to appreciate the depth of their knowledge and wisdom. But what I'm going to do now is ask Pundiji to talk about Dr. Foss and introduce him to us in his way.
Hari Om, Namaste to everyone, and Namaste Christine, and Namaste Andrew. My name is Panditji is Pundit Samavedula. The world knows me Pundit Samavedula. Some people calls me Pundit Sam, Pundit Sharma. As Andrew mentioned, about Andrew, I see him as a yogi. Just because we met first in 2009. At that time, it was really like, the world was a little shaky time because all the markets were down in 2008 and 9 time. And I was looking more opportunities to myself. So at that time, when I found online there is a British Association of Vedic Astrology conferences happening in London. So I just sent a message. I would like to come, and they open-heartedly they said yes, come. And that's it. Rest is history. Like he is, about Andrew. He was in a Purusha meditation also for a long time. And that means the day, every day, long time, many hours, do meditations only, and yogic flying too. And and then he's a great student and a teacher about Vedic astrology, of course, and he's a great author of a Vedic software. It's called astrology software, Shri Jyoti Star. And it's a beautiful software where nowadays most of the astrologers in the West, they use this software for reading the charts. And it's a very deep knowledge is there, like, different systems. And he combined with Parashara and Jaimini and different systems also in that. And that is what his main focus is. And of course, he does a lot of charts and readings for people. And more than that, he's a big sadhaka, aspirant of the knowledge. And I'm fortunate to meet him, and I was fortunate to initiated him into Sri Vidya tradition as well. And my father met him, and my father also initiated some mantras to him. And it's a great lineage, as Sri Vidya lineage is, as you all know, most of the teachers, they follow the Sri Vidya tradition. And he's into it, and he practicing still that Sri Vidya tradition. And he's of course, sadhaka, teacher, all this, but he's a great friend. And light-minded, like thinking about something, what we can do for the universe and society and the world. Because me and him, when we speak each other also, sometimes we always talk about things about the well-being of the world. So that is the short version. Of course, I can speak about him more too, but we have other thing. But thank you, Andrew, and welcome to. And when about this Kailash Yatra happened, I mentioned to him, and he immediately said, "Yes, I am in." And and I'm happy to travel with him because, during this our journey, whoever is coming in the Yatris, the pilgrims, they will learn a lot from him as well, because he can talk on Vedanta, he can talk on the spiritual, and he worked with many, many top astrologers and in India, Sadhguru Shivananda Murti ji been invited and awarded him, and he been many conferences, no keynote speaker in India too, in Calcutta and different states in all over India. So thank you, Andrew, and about Christine, thank you very much, Christine. And Christine is a great student, and she is a connector between East and West. And thank you for hosting today. And you are a great help. I can see that. And she was here a few weeks back in our temple in Shiva Kameshwari temple, and I can see, when I was doing some work at the temple also, she was always noticing and making notes, and she talks to me about Panditji, let's do this. Like, she has a connection between, like she's a bridge between East and West. And I would like to visit her, her place also. What is that you call the
Yeah. So
she has a very great place where it's a retreat center also, that is. It's a great place. She will explain about that, about what it is. But maybe one day we can do a good retreat over there on the Vedic and mantra and different Ayurveda, Jyotish conference or retreat also. And thank you. And I wish all the best to you today and for your future also, for the getting more knowledge about the Vedic mantras and Vedic science.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So my husband and I we happen to live in northern New York on 100 acres on a mountain, and we've turned it into sacred space. We've done ceremony from all kinds of traditions around the world. And we have the 7th legacy labyrinth in the world. It's a Chartra style labyrinth. It's beautiful. So if you ever want to come to northern New York, now you know. But my role here today really is to facilitate this conversation, and I love to do that. My first introduction to Hinduism and the Vedic tradition and sacred fire and Sankalpa and Sadhana and Seva is I'm also a student of Her Holiness Sai Ma. And that connection actually is what led me to Pundiji. And I was in temple for a whole week, and my desk was directly across from 2 Shiva lingams. So I was right in the zone. It was very high intensity. It was very beautiful, just where I want to be. So that's where we are today. We're going to now shift into a little bit of high intensity where we want to be. So I'm going to go back and share a few slides. I've asked Pundiji to set the space to enliven this container for us with a few minutes of his work. So Pundiji, I'll share off to you here.
Sure. योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां संजीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्. This prayer is from Bhagavatam, and in the prayer is offering salutations to the Bhagavan. Prostration to you, O Bhagavan, the Supreme Being, Purusha, prosperous of all powers, who having entered my within, have activated my dormant speech, and likewise have empowered the other organs such as the hands, feet, ears, skin, and vital forces by virtue of your mere presence, O Bhagavan. Kailasa Shikhare Ramye Bhakti Sandhananayakam Pranamya Parvati Bhaktya Shankaram Paryapruchhata. On the beautiful peak of Mount Kailasa, after bowing to Lord Shiva, Lord Shankara, the leader and guide of the path of devotion, Goddess Parvati respectfully asked her Lord a question. This is from the Guru Gita. So this is the, as you can see, the beautiful image of the Kailasa. So just offering our salutations from here to that abode of Shiva. Kailasa Shikhare Ramye Shankarasya Shivalaye Devataस्तत्र मोदन्ति तन्मे मनः शिव संकल्पमस्तु. Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Mahadeva Hara. On the beautiful summit of Mount Kailasa, the sacred abode of Lord Shiva, where the Devas rejoice in divine bliss, may my mind be established in sacred and auspicious resolve. Because this is from the Mahanyasa, and this is from the Vedas. Kailasha Shikhare Ramye Shankarasya Shivalaye Devatas Tatra Modanti Tan Me Manashiva Sankalpamastu. Nothing happens in our life without the permission of Shiva. So as we are all meeting today, again it's the grace of Shiva. As we all yatris going there is a Shiva's permission. And if we are able to perform something over there as a called Maha Yagya, is also a grace of Shiva.
Thank you. So I realize we're going to have to speed this up because we just do. So I want to go right to, we know what we're doing here. I think in the course of the conversation, both Dr. Andrew and Pundiji are going to be talking about what they're seeing, sensing, and being and called to respond to. And Elizabeth, you had a very specific question about what they're seeing in the world right now. I actually want to bring you on. I'm going to ask you to unmute because your question is fascinating and I would like them to address it from the beginning.
Well, I am I'm just really fascinated because I don't know if it's because of the planets and because of the Mother Gaia is ascending or what's happening, or is it because what's curated in the media and the news, it's so outlandishly crazy. I don't know what to believe. Like, I don't know if it's because of all the like, I don't know what's real. I can't tell what's real. That's what my question is. Everyone seems to be going crazy. And that's why I'm here. And I am Saimal is my guru as well. And so I am very familiar with the Vedic world. And I love Mount Kailash. And one of these days I would love to go. I can't go this year, but I would love to go. So that's why I'm here today.
Rumor has it there may be another trip next year.
Well, maybe I can condition myself to go. Yeah.
Yes. In fact, I was talking to Pundiji yesterday and I said, "Are you losing weight?" Because he is, because he's conditioning. So yes, thank you for that. So Pundiji, Dr. Andrew, I'm going to pitch that to you. And at the same time, I'm going to ask everyone else, if you want to piggyback onto that question or give a nuance, please do that in the chat and we'll address that as well. So over to you, both of you.
I've got some slides on the astrology coming up, which I intend to look at it from the big picture view.
Pundiji, anything you want to share, or shall we move on?
Elizabeth, yes, your question is very accurate because the people are very uncertain, and in the world, as you all know, from the time of COVID, there's a lot of things are changing. And in few years back, like if you all notice, like a few years back, the tithi, according to the Panchanga or any festivals, used to come in India first and later in US or rest of the world. But now it's going other way around. First, we are celebrating here in US and they're happening next day in India. So this is the whole planetary system. It's a cosmic Maya. It's happening. And again, and this is not abnormal. This is very normal in the big picture of the God. As every 100 years, 120 years, these things happen. And those people who are there and they've seen, those people today, they are not here to tell us what happened. So we all are experiencing as a new, something is happening. And so as many people are very uncertain and people are living in fear. People are living in scary. What's going to happen? They might be scaring about the finances or relationship or health or about the society, about the world. There are many things, very much uncertainty. So yes, but one thing is the Veda says, according to the Veda, these things are common. That is the reason there is a Vedic science, the Vedas. If you connect yourself to the Vedic tradition, definitely you will be educated and learn more, and you can live a fear-free life as well. So, and as Andrew said, astrologically he will explain over there, and then definitely we have a more answers to this related the same question. The whole thing will go also why this is happening and what we are doing for this. And again, me or Andrew or some other, we cannot change the whole planet or world, but as a citizen of the universe, we are trying to do what we can little bit. So that is what we will see more into the upcoming slides.
I think the main
Thank you.
point.
Go ahead.
Are we going to go on with the slides? Then we can.
I think so. I think we're going to cover it all.
Yeah.
So, do you
Let's
want
do
to
that.
touch now on one of
Yeah.
the things you both said to me that struck me is there are times very specifically where the Vedic tradition calls for this intervention when there are certain conditions in the world. Can you talk about that? And then some folks on this call are very educated about the Vedic tradition. Some I know have no experience. So could you just briefly touch on what is a mantra, yagya, sankalpa, sacred fire, and the timing of all of this?
Okay, so mantras are about mananat trayateti mantraha. When you chant the mantra in your silence, it will the best, most effective. When you chant louder, it gives you the vibration, the sound vibration. So the mantra is connects with your rhythm of your breathing system. Normally there are many mantras, but there is a mantra every human chants from the birth till death. That mantra is called Hamsa. The Soham, Soham. The breathing and breathe out is the mantra itself. And that connects with our own consciousness and connects through all our chakras. So it's a beautiful energy if you experience the mantra. And a yagya is something, a offering towards to the nature, because Vishnu vai yajno vai Vishnu. Yajna is the Vishnu, Lord Vishnu is the preservation. So to feed the devatas, these yagyas devatas means the divine powers will be fed by the yagyas. When the divine powers are fed by the yagyas, the divine powers takes care of humanity globally and nature as well. Nature will be very much satisfied when the yagyas are happened. Yagyas are fire sacrifices. And then sankalpa is the intention. When we do some good or bad, whatever our intention. So here our intention is to re-intervene the positive energy to help the society and the world. And sacred fire is a yagya, which we with the mantras. Normally, if you just do a fire, it's a barbecue. But when the fire connects with the mantra and sacred offerings into the fire, that becomes the sacred fire and yagya. And about the timing, all spiritual responses. This is as the first question asked by Elizabeth, this is the right time, the right momentum to start for this kind of offerings. And especially the place is also matter, which we will be speaking later in the slides about why we are doing this at Mount Kailash. So you should I continue, or you will any question?
Yeah, I moved the slide forward. I would love for you to now share what one of the questions someone asked before is how long is the yatra, the journey?
Yes.
And then the Mahahoma / Yagya, what the difference is, if any. And then the dedication of this Maha Yagya is on this slide.
So the Yatra is a pilgrim tour, the spiritual tour. We call this Yatra as a Sadhana Yatra because the 54 individuals are traveling here in this. We are all going as one team, a Sangha, and creating the energy. We are carrying all this energy from people like who are not traveling with us. And so we are going to be carrying this whole energy to that Mount Kailash and the Lake Manasarovar. And the yatra of as a homa the yatra is total starting from 3rd of July from Lhasa, Tibet, and we will be back at Lhasa on 17th July. And in this yatra, we will be visiting many places, monasteries as well. We will see. And on the 10th of July, we will be doing this Maha Homa Yagya. And Yagya or Maha Homa or Yagya, both are different names, but the meaning is the same. And about Mount Kailash, as you can see, a beautiful picture. It's the sacred mountain, which Andrew will speak about this. And I request Andrew to please say.
I have a few explanatory slides here. So the point about Mount Kailash is not just us, but a very large number of people in the world see it as like the center of the greatest power point or power center in the world. The Hindus, the Buddhists, the Jains, the traditional Tibetan, the Bon, however it's pronounced. It's a very, widely viewed, and the concept behind it, which you find in all of these traditions, not just one, all of them have this concept that the divinity arrived on earth and landed on the Mount Kailash, and from there the knowledge was expounded. So the Buddhists have their own version of it, and the Hindus have their own version, and the Bon have their own version. The Jains, their founder took his, he sort of dissolved into the mountain. So it's something, and you see, it's a very great significance because the great rivers like the Indus, the Hindu, Sindhu, or whatever we call it these days, the Sutlej, which was the Saraswati, great Saraswati River of the Vedic civilization, the Brahmaputra, the Karnali, and even some of the rivers that go into China and all that, coming from around this area. And so it's a sort of very natural kind of center, and it's a very unusual mountain. It may not be as tall as Mount Everest, but it has some very there's some special qualities about it that we'll see in these subsequent slides. So this is the story from the 4 religions that particularly hold it as sacred. And, you see the story is different, but the basic concept is the same. And from this arrival of Shiva, or however, whatever we call him, the knowledge of yoga was expounded to the 7 rishis. Even in Egypt, they have this tradition of the 7 rishis. In South America, you find all over the planet, he sent them out, and they provided the seeds of all the civilizations that we know of today. This is how it's understood and recorded in many scriptures. So there's something exceptional about it. It's considered that he lives with his spouse, Parvati, on the top of the mountain. There's something, there are many stories. Many stories. There's the story of Ravana. He was the great demon, but he was also a very great devotee of the Lord. So he came to Mount Kailash and he tried to lift up the mountain because he was exceptionally powerful. He managed to lift it just slightly, and then Lord Shiva put his one toe down and crushed him, crushed his hand. So then he sang a very great hymn of praise to Lord Shiva, which is famous today even. So anyway, that led to many things, the whole story of the Ramayana and everything. But the basic idea is that if you visit this place, you have the darshan. Even from the photograph, you feel something fantastic. But if you go there, it has this very special energy. And they say that if you can do the circumambulation of the mountain, which is like 50-kilometer trek, then this clears, they say, a lifetime of karmas, which is how you ought to prepare yourself for moksha. So you find, the Tibetans, everyone is going there and walking around the mountain. This is what we're planning to do. In the next slide. So this is it's called the Kora, the circumambulation of the mountain. It just mentions here the different stages of it. It's a very fantastic journey, and we can talk about it later if you want to hear about that. But our main point today is that this in front of the mountain is the Manasarovar, means the lake of the mind, you could say, if you want to try to translate it. Of course, it's much more deeper than that. And this is said to be a remnant of the great ancient Tethys ocean. There was an ocean called the Tethys. And when the Himalayas were lifted up, when India collided with the Asia, it lifted the land, and this part of the ocean was left. And it has some very special and sacred quality. And it's always clear. And next to it is another lake, which is always dark, and it doesn't have a good quality. It's said to be for the demons, the Rakshastar. But this Manasarovar lake, it has very special qualities. People who go there, they see these phenomenon going on, which according to the great yogis, there's different non-human, non-earthly species who come down and they live in the lake. But there are videos online about this, but people have seen it. So we can go on.
Pundiji, can I just ask you to share what you experienced in 2018 related to that? Because you did share that when we last spoke, and I found it very moving.
Well, as in my experience, because I was there in 2018, we 48 people we traveled. We call Fortune 48. Fortune 48 souls. We went there, and the experience was beyond the words. The moment you see from the bus, the Lake Manasarovar, you have the first vision of the lake, and then Mount Kailash. You feel like you are something is happening in your whole system. That is number one feeling. Number two, once we reach that night at the Lake Manasarovar, we stay at night there. You can just imagine we are not, like, for example, if somebody goes and stands in front of the White House, or somebody in front of something, world's biggest monument, how you feel. But this is the world's highest consciousness there. universal, not even world, the Mount Kailash. So you are there, and you cannot even, I cannot believe myself, oh, I'm there. That is the first feeling. And when we went that night, around 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, we went, most of our group, not elder ones, but most of our group went, and we sat at the banks of that lake, dark, and 2 to 3 hours we were just watching the sky and the stars. And some star, you feel that when you meditate in the dark, like, open eyes, not close eyes, because you don't want to close your eyes there. You feel some stars are coming, some beams, the light beams are coming into the water and moving back to the sky. And according to the Vedic belief system, also, what they say is from 2 to 4 in between, the Saptarishis, the seven sages, and the Devatas also come and take a dip in that water, in that lake. So it's a beautiful experience. And next morning we performed a big yagya there, all 48, and we offered some ancestral karma remedies, and we did a Rudra Homa and Rudra Abhishekam, the yagya there. And at that time also, last time, I was able to manage to give a live broadcast from there, and many people watched it also. And it's in my YouTube channel. You can watch later also if you would like to.
Yeah, we'll make sure to send that link out to everyone.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Again, feel free to put any of your questions in the chat. And Andrew, this leads me back to you.
Yes.
And also what we talked about. I was fascinated when you were telling me how this is not climbable. So
Yes,
I've queued up the next slide.
About this. Now, what is written on the slide is certainly true. But there has been a couple of attempts to climb it. And on both occasions, the climbers, as they started, it wasn't like the climbing was so difficult. They've climbed much more difficult mountains. But as they started to go up the mountain, on both occasions, they felt like something was happening to them, unpleasant. And after a little while, they abandoned and came down again. Then they felt fine. So the mountain is somehow protecting itself. There's some kind of aura, which they say that if people are completely pure and holy, they have no problem. There's one great, like Milarepa, Milarepa, if you've heard of him. He was one of the most famous of the great sages of Tibet. And he is the only one we know of who have reached the summit. People like that, they live up there, but ordinary people, they can't just go off there. So anyway, the thing is that what we're really getting to is that this is the most powerful seat of, let's just keep this slide for a little while. So the most powerful spot on the earth, really, it's not just connected to the earth. Like Pundiji was saying, it's connected to other systems. And, some of the yogis have seen this and described it. I personally once saw how this extraterrestrial, it's like highways around the planet and from the planet to some God knows where, but out of this sphere of the earth. And those who have, a light, we're a bit heavy because of all of the karmas we're carrying. But if you have sufficient lightness, then you can travel on these paths. And, these people come and go, they don't trouble anybody. They're just coming for some reason because of the power of these locations. So I think it's like a sort of, if you want to communicate some energy to the planet, this is the best possible place. Not only is it very, very high altitude, but it has this enormous spiritual energy. So Pundiji does a small yagya at Mount Kailash. It has 100 times the effect, or maybe 1,000 times the effect of doing the same thing, down in the plains somewhere. That's the point, I think. I just wanted to say one experience that I had. I haven't been to Mount Kailash, but once when I was on a Jyotish course with my guru in India, somebody arrived who'd just been there, and they were carrying a little bit of water from a puja that was done at Mount Kailash, and I got like 2-3 drops of it. And when that came on my tongue, so my consciousness just blew out, like extraordinary. I still remember it because it was just such a spectacular experience. Just a few drops, I thought, okay, this is really, now at least have some very small idea of the greatness of this place and the power that it carries. And a few days ago, I noticed something in the publicity about this yagya that Pundiji is going to do, which is that he's going to be, actually those people who sponsor the yagya will get a small little bottle of the water from the puja. So I thought, wow, very fortunate people, even if they can't come on the trip, they're going to get, some powerful blessings. So, and they see this year, the horse year, in Chinese and Tibetan, they have this concept of the animals of the year. And this is one of the horse years. It comes every 12 years. But there is also a cycle of the elements. So this is the fire horse year. And the fire horse year is said to be the most potent of all of the years for this pilgrimage. And it happens only once every 60 years. And they say that you get many times the benefit if you go this year. I mean, I had no idea about all this. Pundiji had been talking about going to Kailash for a few years, and I kept saying, I can't go this year, I can't go this year. And then suddenly in January, I rang him up, are we going? And he said, yeah, we're going. So it just, that compulsion came. Anyway, let us look quickly at the chart. Any of you have any interest in astrology? So the chart, the bottom right is the actual chart of position of the planets. It's very interesting. The time Pundiji is picked is when Jupiter is rising, and Jupiter is exalted, so it's at its maximum strength. So that means that the yagya will have this incredible energy. And Jupiter's in Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, which has gone to the 10th house. So that's, tremendously powerful. And then what is very interesting about this chart is that you've got all the planets on one side of the Rahu Ketu. Now, Rahu Ketu means the two eclipse points caused by the sun and the moon's planes crossing. And when the planets are arranged like this, and this is not a common yoga because the planets are filling all the signs. There are no empty signs, you see. Venus, Jupiter, Sun, Mercury, Mars, Moon, Saturn, they're filling up all the space between the two nodes. And so this is not happening every day. And it means there's like a continuous flow of energy that's flowing. And it's flowing towards the Ketu, which is the spiritual point. And Ketu is with Venus. Venus is our ability of perception. And when Venus and Ketu join together, you get heightened ability of perception. It's a yoga for people who can see auras, who can see, the dead. I mean, they can see divinities. It's something very, very powerful. And so what happened? Can we go back? Just leave it on that slide because I've got some more things to say. Okay, so it's just a very powerful setup for developing refined perception of higher consciousness. And this you can see also in these other charts, but time is short. So I just want to talk a bit about this table in the bottom left. There's a very special kind of calculation you do in Jyotish, which is not known to many people. It's called the Saptarishi Nakshatra Dasha, and it runs continuously. This is based on the starting point at the beginning of Kali Yuga, which is now about 5,100 years ago. So that's why you can see 5,120 years after the beginning of Kali Yuga was 2019. Now, my guru taught me, Pandit Sanjay Rat, taught us about this back in about 2007. And he was saying, now we're starting this period of Ashwini, and then the Bharani will be starting. Revati. because the thing runs. But anyway, the point is that when he taught this, I immediately thought, my goodness, 2019, something very drastic is going to happen in the world. So this was 2007. So for 12 years, I was thinking, 2019, what's going to happen, you see? Had I studied this dasha more thoroughly at that time, I would have known it was going to be a pandemic, because this what we call a dasha, the cyclic periods, even predicts the Black Death. Every time there's been a major pandemic on Earth, you see the same phenomenon cropping up. But the Black Death was on a bigger level. This is a smaller version of it. So it was not so many people died, but it still pretty much shut down the planet. So this started in 2019. Went on for 2, 3, 4 years, whatever. But the period between 2019 and 2029 has this kind of very difficult energy. And then I'm afraid to say, the difficult energy doesn't just go away. Unfortunately, it continues quite a few decades. So basically, that's why people are very confused, fearful, all that. Is because the actual tendency at the moment is kind of purifying. These things don't come for no reason at all. There's a purifying energy. And if you don't do anything about it, if you say, I'm just going to live my life and hope for the best, you're just on a downward slope. You're sliding into the pit, basically, because that's the way the whole thing is going. We've messed up the planet in a big way, and now we're reaping the consequences. So, but the other side of this is that whenever this phenomenon is occurring, there's also an upward flow, balancing it, of a very powerful spiritual energy rising. So people who make the effort to devote themselves to spirituality have a fantastic opportunity of rising to a very high level. So we're going to see this divergence in the world between the spiritual people who are making tremendous progress and everyone else who's really struggling. So, what we can do, if you do nothing, for sure, everything's going down. So on one level, individually, we can do our spiritual practices, but on a more bigger community level, you can protect the community with these yagyas. That's the whole idea. That's, Pundiji is one of those few people on the planet who know how to do these things. All, acknowledgement to him. So that's why we're very fortunately got this idea of doing this yagya this time when we're at this place. And this is basically what I wanted to say. But we can quickly look at these other few slides.
It's beautiful. It's powerful. I find I'm having a powerful reaction to it. And I want to bring Pundiji in for 1 second to look at Brooke's question, because I think it dovetails beautifully before we go on. Brooke still is asking, we are in a cycle of breakdown to breakthrough. I feel holding space to create peace is vital, yet grasping that peace will be created without the major shifts that most will find uncomfortable is needed. How do you suggest connecting with Shiva and the Ganas, which create beneficial destruction, free from grasping how that looks? A beautifully constructed question. Someone who knows.
Yes.
Well, yes, it is a very important question, because it needs to understand, all we can control is ours. At least we can try to control our actions. We cannot control what's happening out there in the world, in the nature. As in Prakriti and Purusha, there are two concepts of the universe, like a masculine and feminine energy. And this gap, what in the question you're referring, it is not so easy. So that is the reason the sadhana is needed. And again, I requested and recommend all my co-yatris also, you do all your physical training, but connect your spiritual mind into the yatra, because that is the sadhana you need to do, because we are all going there with, especially to this yatra, because not that we want to go, because there is a calling from Shiva. That is the reason we are going. So the Shiva and Ganas will be pleased and appeased according to again, this knowledge come from the Veda. And what the Vedic knowledge is saying, Vedic text, whenever this uncertainty is happening or uncomfortable people are feeling in the community or in the world, to create the peace and space, appeasing the nature, which is the Prakriti, and appeasing the Purusha, which is the Shiva, is important. And again, that much we can do. Rest we cannot do anything. So that is the reason the sadhana is important. Even people are not traveling there. During those 10 days, if you can create your intensive sadhana at your home, from your home, and travel with us, like not with as earlier Andrew mentioned, one of the saint from Buddhist, I think, he climbed into Mount Kailash, not physically. He traveled with the Sukshma Sharira. Sukshma Sharira is when you travel, our Mount Kailash is here in our crown chakra, Sahasrara. So from the Mooladhara, from the root chakra, you travel through the crown until the crown and where the Mount, that is the Sukshma Sharira. So we all, from your home also, you can travel with us as we are carrying all your karmas with your Sankalpa, if you register, so that we can carry. And one more important thing, what we are doing is whoever is registering, I'm doing a cloth, we will be writing their names, all the people who registers. And we collectively, all the yatris will hold that cloth and then we will dip in the water. So that means we are taking this cloth of the names, the karma, and dipping in the water and bringing back that energy to you all. So it's a designed properly what we think it's the right way. And the energy, you need to keep it. So this sadhana is very important. And if people are interested, definitely you can do this sadhana sitting at home from 1st July till the 17th July.
Right. Yeah, that's why it's important to register, because Pundiji is going to have spiritual instructions for everyone who does. I'm going to go back again. Andrew, I know you want to touch on, you added these slides specifically, the physicality of Mount Kailash. So I'm going to share my screen again.
Right, it's just because when I first saw this, it kind of blew me away. Because most mountains, they're kind of like, they've just been developed by nature in some random process. But this mountain has a very strange and amazing appearance where it has these very definite sides. It's a bit like a Rudraksha. It has very definite sides. If you count them, you either come up with 4 or 5. It's very interesting. A lot of people say it's 4-sided, but actually you could count 5. And the whole point about Shiva, he has 5 heads, 4 facing in the cardinal directions and 1 facing upward, which represents the spiritual direction. See, we're all naturally got these. But, there's a story in the Vedic literature. You can see it more clearly in this terrain map from Google Maps. So there's a story of how Brahma, the creator, who created all of us in his image, I don't know, but he committed incest. And because of that, Lord Shiva removed his spiritual head. So this is our problem. We have the heads looking north, south, east, west, where our prosperity lies. But, we're not looking up because, something lacking in our purity. So anyway, this is the concept of Shiva. He has the 5th head. And somehow you can see it in that geometry of the mountain. I don't think you'll find that anywhere else. So this is the point. It's alive, basically. And many, many sages and saints have been here. They've even left their body here. The place is just supercharged. And it's said the Lord Shiva left his entire knowledge in this mountain. So everything you could ever possibly want to know is stored there. Though unfortunately, really if you try to enter into that knowledge, you'll just join the saints and the sages because you won't want to come back again. But anyway, that's the thing. So,
All right, so thank you so much. So Pundiji, would you speak a bit about the different prayers, within the Maha Yagya, the 5 different rituals that will be for the benefit of all? And folks who are in the temple community have already seen this. Folks who are in the Vedic Vedic Yagya Center probably have not seen this, so this is new for them.
Well, yes, Rudrabhishekam, we are doing 5 ceremonies there: Rudrabhishekam, Rudra Homam or Yagya, Chandi Yagya, Shiva Parvati Kalyanam, and the Pitrutarpanam. So we will be doing on the July 10th morning. We start with the ancestral ceremonies first. We offer ancestors, all the yatris will join in that, and people wants to join in the ancestral remedies, ancestral sankalpa, you can join. And that is, we will be, because our ancestors, we don't know whether they traveled here or not, so we are taking their names and we offering their for them also. It will be helpful and it will help in our lineage and our family. That is number one, and it will be better for our children too. And then Rudrabhishekam is something we offer a prayer ceremony to Lord Shiva directly. And Rudra Homam is also a fire sacrifice, which we will be do 169 chantings, recitations. And Chandi Homa is a feminine energy we are creating there from the around 15,000 feet height altitude at the foot of Mount Kailash. This Chandi Homa, 700 verses of Devi Mahatmyam, will be chanting and offering the sacred offerings into the fire. That is the Chandi Homa. Chandi Homa itself has a big subject, as it disconnects all the negativity from and disconnects our negative karma too. And at last we do the Shiva Parvati Kalyanam, which is the divine matrimony, unity of the divine energies, feminine and muscular energy, for the peace of world, peace of the universe. So it's a beautifully designed, and we are carrying all the ingredients also from India. And again, why I call this is Maha Yagya. Maha means grand. You can say, okay, 1,000 pundits, 100 pundits, yes, you can call Maha Yagya. But another way you can call Maha Yagya is place is matter, where you are doing. We can study at home too, but why do we go to school? Because school is the place for the study. So especially these kind of events, the connect to the divine, the best place is the sacred Mount Kailash. So that is the reason this has become a Maha Yagya. So because again, it would be nice to carry 100 pundits, but 100 pundits to carry, it's more expensive. So that is the reason we are trying to get low group of pundits, but the energy is become as not the quantity, quality. Quality is main here. So we are trying to get that energy from there and transform from there to all the people who are watching on that day and joining in our journey with us this next from July 3rd to July 17th.
Thank you. And many have asked in the chat, can we be part of this as a pilgrim? So
yes, but that is already closed, because this pilgrim tour, the sign up is not just okay, I decide today and get up, because this is we started this program from Mahashivratri from February, And permits are included, China visa, permits, and your body and mind and soul needs to get connected with that and get ready for yourself. So the joining physically, it's closed, but yes, you can join spiritually, mentally with us for this year. If next year happens, definitely we will do, but I'm planning. But again, these things are not happen because I plan or somebody's plans. It
Yep.
happens with Shiva plans. Because in after 2018, I was planning to take the tour in 2020, but you know what happened. And when the it's after COVID also, we tried to do it in 2023, we couldn't do it, and we try to do 2024, we couldn't do it. At 2025, we got a big movement. Yes, a lot of people wants to join, but all of a sudden there's a landsliding happened and everything was closed. So it's again, finally, it's happening this year. Yes, if you ask me a question, are you planning for next year? Yes. But am I going next year? Question mark, don't know. But yes, I may go. I don't know yet. But the thing is, this year auspiciousness is, as Andrew mentioned, this is like this year who visits to Mount Kailash, they get a benefit of visiting 13 times because the horse year, the year, the time is called Pushkara time, and it's a beautiful time. So right now, physically you cannot join, but you can join with body, mind, and soul.
Thank you. And I put up so a couple of things. And when you do register, and there's many, many levels from $108 to $5,001. And the differentiation is the level of financial support to assist Pundiji in pulling this off. There's over 20 Sherpas, there's months of logistics, there's safety concerns. It's a huge expedition. So I want Pundiji, I want you to share, all that will be included. And you said something, and I actually took it verbatim. I want to just go to it really quickly. There is no small prayer at Kailash. Every sincere offering, every prayer matters. So we're going to spend a little bit of time now because people are wondering, okay, I know I want to participate. What's the best place for me to do this for me and my family? So I'm going to go back a few slides, Pundiji. Why don't you start here with what's included, and then we'll go talk about the special Prasad blessings for everyone. If you want to say anything else about the cloth, and then I do have pictures of the different special gifts that come with each level.
Sure. So, as I mentioned, we will be doing these 5 main sacred ceremonies over there in one day. And in my team, many people are still questioning me. I don't know how will you do 5 ceremonies over there. And I said, if you ask me today, I don't know, but you will see that day. Because I go with the flow with the divine energy, what it pushes me and shows me the path. That is number one, because I'm a firm believer. Whatever is happening, it's not in my control. Whatever is in my control is my actions. So just follow the guidance of the divine and do it. And so it's a invitation to everyone, whoever wants to join. So what you will be receiving, your names, your family names will be recited in the part in the during the ceremonies. And we have created a special WhatsApp group. You may once you register, you will be able to join in the group. So from the day one, from Kathmandu, we will start sharing you our journey and about whereabouts, what we are doing, which temple we are visiting, and all those we will be doing that. And of course, after the ceremony, when we come back, we are bringing some holy water and some prasad as a written gift to all the participants all the registrants, whoever is doing. Again, the money is, of course, why you all may have a question, why is different levels? Again, some may wants to do a bigger participation, some may wants to do a little participation, but nothing is small. And so we have accordingly, we designed a program, and we will send after we return from there, July 20th. By end of August, you all will be receiving your prasads in the mail. And some people may receive a pendant, some people receive rudraksha. All these pendants, rudrakshas will be immersed in the water, in the lake Manasarovar, and I will travel with them when I walk also. So that means the prasad comes to you is coming, going around the Mount Kailash and coming to you. So that is the beauty of this program.
Thank you. So, questions and answers. The floor is open. And Pundiji, while people decide if they want to put a question in the chat or if they want to just raise their hand or unmute themselves.
Yeah, they can unmute and ask a question. Yes.
Yeah. Would you just share a little bit about the Murti? Because I found that to be particularly beautiful. That's this image right
Murti,
here on the right.
The the Murti, the idol which I'm giving is a silver idol, which is it's a in the I don't think we have a bigger image over there, but it's a the Murti is, can we make it single that bigger so people can see? But it's a Shiva.
Yeah.
It's a family of Shiva, Shiva's family, and we all are Shiva family. Like Annapurne Sadapurne Shankara Pranavallabhe Jnana Vairagya Siddhyardham Bhikshan Dehi Cha Parvati Mata Cha Parvati Devi Pita Devo Maheshwarah Bandhava Shiva Bhaktascha Swadesho Bhuvanatrayam. In the prayer, what they say is Shiva is the father, Parvati is the mother, and we are all relatives connected in the universe, in the world. Doesn't matter you are American, Indian, Japanese, Chinese, this, that, whatever. We are all under one roof. We are all connected with our karma. So in this image, if you can zoom in a little bit, Christine. So this image is unity in diversity. That is the what right now world is also needed. So this is a beautiful image as Shiva and Parvati, mother and father, and as tomorrow I think is a Father's Day, and Ganesha and Kartikeya and their vehicles, their animals. So here, if you look at, it's not maybe very clear, but I will explain you. Shiva and Parvati have a vehicles of bull and lion, and bull and lion are enemies. Lion eats bull. And Shiva has in his neck ornaments as snakes. And Lord Ganesha's vehicle is a mouse. And mouse and the rats and snakes are enemies. Same thing, peacock and snakes are enemies. But still they are living in one family. So that is this is the message the Murti, the deity is giving. Live, we may have a different of opinions in the world, but live together, because this human life is one life we received from the divine, and this is the life we can do the karmas properly. Devatas also does not get human life. That is the reason devatas take a human birth many areas, the story says. So we do the right karma and elevate our karmas and get into the moksha. And any other have any questions? How do we submit the family names? Yes, I think when you submit, you're filling the form, it asks you. If does not ask, there is a special message box also, I think, in the form. You can write it over there. Otherwise, we will get back to you. If not, once we receive an email, you receive an email from us, you can reply to that with the names of the family and everything. And somebody says, Nalini Velayudhan said, from the unseen land. Okay, that's her.
So there is a question at the bottom. Can you please explain again the sadhana we can do from July 1st and for how many days? That will come after registration, and we'll send you an email, and Pundiji's recorded a video.
Yes, the sadhana email will come once people register. We will be sending that email during the last week of June, because you know, again, there's a lot of background work needs to be done. And so, and we will send you some chants also for you to listen during this our journey while you are at home watching and going through. My recommendation is, if you are participating from 1st July to 17th July, keep your mind light. Try to keep your work also light, and give your time for yourself, focus and meditation, and connect yourself to us, especially with me, because I'm connecting with each and every one of you with my Sankalpa. So you also do the Sankalpa and connecting, because this is all energy, this is all telepathy. So I'm sure when I can connect you to you all, you can connect me to you also, to me. So please, if you do that, definitely your experience and your personal, of course, the benefits are not only limited to universal peace, it's a personal benefits, karmic, and many levels of karmas can be cleansed by participation.
We're also creating a WhatsApp group specifically for those who are participating in the Maha Yagya. So Pundiji's promised every day he's going to be recording and sending messages just for this group. So, and we're going to make it interactive so we can interact with each other, and we can really be in Sangha together, whether we're there or not. So any other questions? Any comments? Reflections?
Anyone have any
All are
questions?
welcome. We'd love to hear everyone's voice.
And I think some of our yatris are there, and if they want to say anything about yatris, Nalini ji, Nandini ji, if you want to say anything, please. And actually, there are two sisters, Nalini and Nandini. They both are twin sisters. They have a great story, and she wrote that because I think yeah, she can tell her story about why she is coming and that. Please, Nandini ji.
Namaste, namaste, everyone. I'm just very honored and grateful to be on this journey with Samavedulu. We are part of Sivakamesri Temple, and there's been many, many years, over the 20-something years, that my mom first went in 2005, and we thought we would one day do this. And there's been many opportunities, but nothing really clicked for one reason or the other. And when Samavedulu said at the temple, we're doing this, first I thought I had missed the registration, I had missed the timing, I had missed the information session, and just everything started falling in place and it lined up. So I'm very grateful that we'll be traveling with my husband, my son, my twin sister, and her oldest boy. And we're glad to be doing this with Samavedulu because, like he was saying, just for the yatris to connect, just with his sankalpa for everybody, I feel like that's how it's been for me personally. There's something for me with Samavedulu where I feel like he's my older brother. We're Tamilian, and we would say like an Anna or someone who is an elder that we feel protected by. And so for me, that sense of protection, and Samavedulu has this beautiful way of calling us Amma, which of course means mother. So I just feel deep, deep reverence for Samavedulu's own heart and where he comes from. And anyway, for me, my sankalpa more than anything else, I think ever since I became a mother, is that whatever I can do in my hands, that my son's life be as blessed as possible, because he was born 3 months early. 20 years ago, and I felt I couldn't do anything further to hold him in me and keep him for those 3 extra months, just the way the nature of things were, that he was born 3 months premature. So I feel like I spend a good number of my waking hours and probably sleeping hours thinking, what else could have I done? What else can I do? What else can I do as a mother that I couldn't do in those 3 months? And so my sankalpa is, first and foremost, that this will be blessings for me as his mother and for him as my son.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Nalini.
Thank you.
Nalini ji, you want to add anything?
I'll just say I feel very fortunate that because of my connection to my family and being in Irvine and the Shiva Kameshwari temple, that Samaveduluji's opportunity has embraced and included me all the way from Oregon and my older son. We will definitely be carrying, for me personally, my husband and my younger son, who's not able to come on this trip just because of logistics. So I understand when Samaveduluji says that we are carrying your prayers and your wishes with us, because I definitely am going to be doing that for my husband and my younger son who are not physically going to be present doing the Kora, but they will be there with me and my older son and my sister and family. And I have invited my friends to join in this who are not able to come. Ranjani is one of them who has joined from Oregon. So similarly, I think if we have the intention that we would love to go, but financially or whatever the reasons are, work, family, other obligations, commitments, it's not an easy thing to commit to do the journey. And that's totally understandable. We live in this world that we live in with all our responsibilities. We can't just shake them off. But definitely having this opportunity to be able to sign up, like Samavedulu is saying, to dedicate that time as a time of your own inward journey from wherever it is that you are located, you can make it happen, because ultimately the journeys are inward. We happen to be doing it physically. So I think if you're able to, and there's that calling for you, I think you should sign up and take up the opportunity with a group of people that are sincerely, we've been working towards this since January or February. So we welcome you to join us. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you so much.
Any other questions anybody have?
Yeah. Do either of you feel like giving me pronunciation lessons the next time I'm around?
And you did well.
Always humble. Always
well.
learning.
You did well. And I hope everyone liked the information session what we given. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us. And the email ID is, I think, in my website is there. But again, cs@vedic.org. And can you put it in chat? So that email, you can ask any questions if anybody have. You can reach me directly, or you can reach to the website. And any questions, if you have astrologically, you can ask Dr. Andrew Foss too. And it is when we thought we planned, 90 people almost registered, they showed interest. Out of 990, 54 finalized. 5 plus 4 is 9. So 9 is the highest number in single digit. So
And
9 can carry.
half of 108, Samavedulu.
Yes, half of 9. Yes, and
Exactly.
9 can carry everyone's prayers
Yes,
into
9
become
can.
multiply.
It's the infinity number.
Infinity number 108.
Well, as we say goodbye, it would be great if you're able to just show us your screen and so we can see your face, and unmute yourselves and we can all say greetings and goodbye. And thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for your extra time today. And thank you for welcoming me actually into this exquisite community. I'm very honored.
I'll just do the final prayer. Om Namaste astu bhagavan Vishveshwaraya Mahadevaya Triyambakaya Tripurandakaya Trikagnikalaya Kalagnirudraya Neelakanthaya Mrutyunjayaya Sarveshwaraya Sadashivaya Shrimanmaha Devaya Namaha. Har Har Mahadev.